in this little spot here.
We don't even know what we're doing.
I've almost got the track done. I'll give it to you soon. The intro track.
Oh, the intro. Yeah, we got an intro. We can't even do it. Like, we've got like 6.
Yeah.
You must have hit your head skateboarding or something, and he said, no, haven't. And he just had a bleed on his brain, like almost fucking killed him.
Thinking too hard.
Yeah. About Globe.
I'll teach you.
Yeah. Oh, well. I should do this. Can talk this shit and then do the intro. Today's guest. What do we call this thing? The Boardcast. On the Boardcast.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
Today's guest, our most famous guest to date, which is unbelievable.
Fucking right.
Unbelievably.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I would have bet maybe, but now it's true. Ben Portnoy, lead singer, drummer, skateboarder.
Former employee
Yeah.
of the shop.
Of Plan C print
Yeah, you
shop
did printed t-shirts
for
us a
one
while.
day.
No, it
One
was
and a
long-
half.
It was longer than that.
Maybe 2.
One and a
Yeah.
half. Yeah.
Everything was a bit crooked.
Yeah, took you a
Rock and
couple
roll
of
did
days.
a number on me.
Took you a couple of days to fuck that job up so bad that we had to get rid of you.
Did it on purpose.
Didn't see a future in t-shirt printing. And here we are with the guy who sells more t-shirts than anyone.
Thanks for having me.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
We thought it's changed a little because like you were less famous when we organised this.
What's this famous business? Why do you think I'm famous?
Number 2,
I just come from
Aria.
a fucking job site on the
I know,
River.
yeah. Famous but still works hard. Number 2 album, right?
Yeah.
Aria charts, number 2.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd get a number 2 album? Really?
No.
No. I was somewhat blown away. I'm super impressed, by the way.
Should have been number 1.
It should have been number 1.
Fucking, what was it? Took it out was
The Wiggles.
David Gudinski's fucking documentary.
Oh, was
Of course, if you've got like Mushroom Record songs on a fucking album.
Yeah, it kind of helps. Was
I'm
it?
gonna
I
beat
thought I remember reading that top 10 when you posted that, and I was like, "Fuck, have a look at what's on this list." You were the only current.
Yeah.
It was like the Wiggles, In Excess, like some fucking In Excess compilation. It was weird. It was
Pack of losers.
and I'm like, and then there's like Coffin.
Sick.
Yeah, it was cool. I was super impressed. I thought it was fucking cool.
Thank you.
You've been on back-to-back tours, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Can I ask? You might not know the answer. What does a number 2 album mean these days with downloads and all that shit?
Well, that one I think was actually based off like hard record sales.
Like actual
I think so.
vinyl and CDs.
Yeah. Well, it would be for us at least. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but I think this was the first album we've had that's been barcoded as well. So there was actually like a
You can track the
register
sales.
of like how much was actually sold.
Yeah, right. Official.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
Sweet.
cool. Like, I guess, you know, with this album, there was a lot more sort of machinery leading up to it. Like, whereas previously, it's sort of like we've done
It's been you guys in a
it
truck.
ourselves, and it's sort of like, oh shit, they're here at my door. Like, all
Yeah.
right, let's put them online. Whereas this is sort of like, all right, like how do you actually do this to like, and it's part strategy, but part like also kind of just being a little bit smart with how people want to like consume things. Like if you just go like, plonk, here's the whole thing, people are like, oh, you know, so it's like that whole thing of drip feed, like put out a single, people get hyped, put this, like let them know it's coming. So I think like the whole lead up to it was just was planned a bit better. And
Who chose the single? Is that you?
which one? It was 3
The
of them.
first one wasn't the
First
Give Me
one
a Bite?
Oh,
wasn't that the first one?
that was the second one. So the first one was like, you know, kind of chill. Give Me a Bite was like the big single. I don't know. I
Yeah.
picked the first one, Cut You Off.
Cut
We
You
sort
Off's-
of all did.
Cut You Off's still like when I was literally talking about it before. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's a proper rock and roll
Yeah.
song. Like it's a really, really good song. It's a real well crafted song.
Yeah. And then I don't know, the other ones was sort of like combination mates and the band. Like, what do you think is sort of like, oh, I won that.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't see COFFIN as a singles band.
No,
Like,
and
what
it's like when
single?
it's single, it's sort of like it's just also for us, it's more like, you know, giving people like an idea of what's to come.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It's been pretty non-stop, yeah?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
2 years, maybe? When was the Amyl? When did that wrap up?
Well, ever since basically the end of COVID, when we could start touring, it's been non-stop since then. So it kind of went to America in 2022. Yeah.
With Amyl.
With Amyl, and
Yeah.
then came back to Australia, did Australian tour with Amyl, then went to Europe at the end of 2022 with Amyl, then went to the UK ourselves this year, and then I did like 2 other tours with other bands, and then met up with COFFIN again in America for our own tour. And then came back to Australia on the tour now, kind of
How far into this one are you?
pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
I think
Does
it's
it-
like 2 more. We got the show in Brookie in a couple weeks.
Label.
Yeah.
Do they know what's going to
I
happen?
don't know. I don't know.
No,
and
that's
then,
I so fear for them.
yeah.
Have you
and-
seen in there? Have you been in there?
No, I haven't been in there, but I've seen some photos. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
it's a pretty
Bit of
interesting
blue
venue.
neon going on.
Bit of
Yeah.
a strange vibe.
Yeah.
Some whites and palm trees.
Yeah. I mean, it's the fucking problem with this whole area, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's nowhere.
Or people are like, oh, there's live music all the time at the fucking breweries. It's like, why don't you try and go? It's like this shit, like, oh, you know, like, I think, you know, if you guys walk in there and, like, have a speak to the manager, you know, you can put, I was like, first of all, like, why the fuck would I, like, put myself in that position? Like, I've been a band fucking 15 years, like, still walking in, be like, hey, man, then we'll listen to our fucking CD. Maybe, like, give us some free pizzas. You know what I mean? It's like, there's that, like, fucking, I'm beyond that shit. And also, too, it's like, that's not fucking, like, that's not art, what's going on there. That's just fucking, like, hired entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, people are doing covers, whatever. It's like, oh, they do, you know, no, but they play. It's like,
It's background music.
yeah, and it's stuff that, like, is
no one's-
digestible. No one's going there for that
the
thing
music, no.
to have, like, a full-on, you know, like, hardcore
You can't
experience.
have a mosh pit
Yeah.
in the middle of
It would be a bit
families
Yeah,
trying to
I
have
mean-
dinner.
Yeah, or, like, going there for that thing, you know? Like, they're never going to have it. There's such a lack of spaces for any
Yeah,
of that
it's true.
stuff.
weird.
Like,
Labels kind of had some. Fuck, didn't they have like a 20-piece ska
Ska
band or
orchestra,
something?
yeah.
Like
Melbourne ska
recently. It was
orchestra.
weird, man. And they had sneaky sound system. I'm like,
yeah,
what
I
the
mean, like,
fuck?
props to them. They fucking let us play. Like, they're not idiots.
Yeah,
like,
but they don't.
they must know slightly who we are.
Mm.
So,
Have you met them?
no,
I don't think they
I don't know.
really
Maybe
know.
they don't know.
No. no.
But I think they probably think, like, anyone who's at a level who's willing
Can
to
fill
pay
it
the
up.
higher fee and fill it up, they're like, oh, they must be established enough to, like, do this kind of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But through that your career, how many venues have you played at that have known what to expect from COFFIN?
That's a good question.
Because I've been to a lot of COFFIN gigs and I've seen a lot of
I
shit.
feel like the ones that have
very few of them know what they've signed up
Yeah.
for.
I feel like pretty much it's been like exclusively Northern Beaches venues
That have
I've
been a
never
problem.
understood. Because again, there aren't spaces that really like host that.
No.
So our thing became like kind of duping these places into letting us have a show, sort of like keeping it a bit hush about what the vibe is, basically just saying like, look, we'll guarantee you're going to make fucking X
On the
amount
bar.
of $1,000 over the bar, and then you leave the gig part to us, and they're like, well, fucking great.
Yeah.
And then they freak out halfway through, and then them freaking out creates more chaos, and then it all goes to shit.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're fucking banned, and they call all their mates, and you're banned from everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're replacing a roof.
yeah. Yeah. And then once there was one at Club 77 in the city that went a bit fucking haywire, but that was sort of like crowd antics, just people graffitiing in toilets and shit. And it depends so much too who's on the night. Like some people are experiencing that stuff and go like, all right, this is the thing, there's graph here or whatever. Like we know that's going to happen. Other people will be like, like, the fucking power's not coming back on until that one person comes and admits who does it. Or like, one of you tell us who do it. It's like, oh yeah, like no one in here is
We
going to
knew.
snitch on like
On some
who's
dude doing
fucking
graffiti.
graphed your toilet. Like, and also like now you pissed off like 300 people who are like
Yeah.
fucking trying to see a band.
You've created
Yeah,
your
everyone's
own
going to
mess.
graph the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Mainly beaches spots, I think.
Yeah, it's always been hard on the beach since. I mean, geez, there hasn't been a venue since the Jet Club days, really.
Yeah.
But that was a long
We hear
time
heaps of
ago.
old stories about like the Manlyvale Hotel and stuff.
Manlyvale
like the
Hotel was
Angels playing there.
amazing, dude.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I've got like a live Angels album.
Yeah.
And like it's got like the list, like it's not all from one gig. It's like different tracks from different
Yeah,
venues they play.
Liveline.
Yeah.
Liveline. Some of it was recorded
At
the
Manlyvale
Manlyvale,
Hotel,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to see, man, I mean, fuck, I'm showing my age, but we used to see all the classic Aussie pub rock. That pub rock era went through there, and then later on Green Spoon and Tumbleweed and all those kind of first
Yeah.
grungier bands all went through there. It was an awesome venue. They had two rooms, the upstairs room and then later the downstairs room. It was a really good pub to watch live music. And that's now apartments. Yeah. And then the Jet Club, which was even bigger venue, that was like, even bands like Nirvana were booked to play there, but then they blew up and they had to cancel that gig. And Soundgarden, like there was some proper bands playing in those places. They held a couple of thousand,
What do you
probably
think?
1,200 people maybe, Jet Club. I'm not sure. Someone will correct me, I'm sure, in the comments.
Why do you think Northern Beaches has kind of got more of a conservative money?
Yeah, property values and no one wants the
Well, it used to
fucking
be
band,
a
right?
shithole back in the day. No one
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to really live here, apparently.
No.
And then kind of thing where you get, it's like any, fucking gentrification story. It's like people move in that don't like noise or don't like, people who look like that hanging around. So it's like,
Shirtless people.
Yeah,
shirtless people in tasseled leather jackets.
you've sat in those council meetings where they argue about the fucking skate park being a horrible place where young delinquents will gather and commit crimes. It's like,
Yeah, and
It's
then
the
you get like
exact
this little
opposite.
piss weak skate park. So it's like, oh, sick, like kid knows how to fucking skate a 3-foot transition, and like versus like some other kid who's growing up at FDR,
yeah, it's killing it.
fucking skating this like 12, 15 foot oververt thing. Of course, one kid's going to be better than the other, or like have more shit going on. And same thing with music. It's like, obviously in any situation, like people who are committed are going to push through and rise to the top of it. But like if you have the facilities there to give people, especially kids, like opportunity to sort of immerse themselves like quite seriously
it'll
in the
happen.
thing that they're passionate about, you're going to help them strive and like, fucking avoid all that shit of like, oh, there's fucking crime here or there's like delinquents. It's like, kids are going to respect the thing that they're passionate about. And that's like, we were really lucky to have the youth center scene still sort of going when we started.
Kangaroo Rock.
Yeah, Kanga, yo-yos, stuff like that. Without that, it would have been like, what do we do Friday night? Like, would have been just more fucking vandalism, destruction, and all right, well, I'm even more bored now. Like, what drugs can we get into quicker?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I guess you guys got the tail end of that whole. Man, yeah, it was an interesting time because it went blank, right? While you guys were coming up, it just went blank around here. And you've somehow battled out of it.
It's weird though, because like Brookvale's got like the
They're trying to make
infrastructure.
Brookvale.
Like there's recording studios and there's bars and breweries.
Yeah,
but there's
it's
not
fucking
the scene
gentrified.
for
It's
it.
not really.
Well, yeah, they want their version
Of it.
of a culture.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's like-
bullshit.
and it's
feels-
They want the aesthetic,
Yeah,
but
and
they
it's
don't want
basically
the
what it is.
culture.
It's just fucking ballooning like what Manly is or some shit. Like
it's manufactured.
shirts and polished shoes, hanging out, having a yarn over like property
Like a 12
values or
and a
some
$12
bullshit.
$12
Yeah,
Right.
IPA.
and then like it's like the reverse of like the old like trashy saloon where the prim and proper guy walks in and the record player stops and everyone turns their head like, who's this fucking guy? It's like the reverse of that now, where it's like full of fucking prim and proper people.
And when
someone who walks in, carrying a skateboard or like, looking
everyone's
a bit scruffy or something, everyone's like, oh.
Yeah,
Oh, like,
yeah. What's going on here?
It's an outsider. I bet they don't know how much the beers are.
Bet they're about to find out.
Yeah, and it's just like saying, like, I don't know. I had hope for Brookvale away, and maybe it still will be all right. But it's like what I was saying before with the brewery thing. Like, it's sick that there is live music instead of pokies. It is awesome.
Yeah,
that is cool. That doing that shit, but it is still basically like,
background music.
a side note or like
Yeah.
You're right. It's the aesthetic, not the culture.
Yeah, it's an accessory for sort of like a business making money. Like instead of like, oh, like we put on really good shows or cutting edge things, or like, the council realistically needs to go, okay, like here's a venue. Let's get some people who like are involved in sort of, cutting edge stuff, and not put stress on them to have to make like a fucking massive financial gain with everything they do. Let's offset that with like council funding, so that they don't have to like go like, oh, okay, like how do we fucking bring in heaps of cash for this like obscure German band that we want to give a show here and want to offer them more than just like dinner, and might only get 50 people to come in instead of 350 people. Like, but that's going to build something here.
And we've talked about it forever.
Oh, dude.
Skate park turns it into a stage and a gig venue every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
Yeah.
We've talked about it forever.
There's nowhere
you can't do it around here. It's just too expensive.
Yeah, the moment you mention like gig, alcohol,
skateboarding,
or like even those things, it's just like, okay, here's all of the hoops you've got to jump through, and it's impossible.
Yeah. The first hoop is insurance, and you're like, okay, so you're saying we're uninsurable. So the moment there's alcohol and a skateboard in the same building, we're uninsurable, even though every skate park in the country has alcohol.
Yeah.
The council wear that as their insurance because they can afford to. Privately, it's impossible. No, we would have done it years ago if it was viable. We've looked at it that many times.
Yeah, there's just so many fucking potholes to throw yourself over in.
You can't get around them. You just look at it going, oh, train wreck. But so skateboarding, you still riding one? This is my favourite skateboarder, everyone, by the way. I used to call him my favourite skateboarder. There's 2 photos of Portnoy on the office wall.
Yeah. On flow for borders.
Who took those photos? Are they Tomo?
I think. Tomo Hustler.
They're sick photos.
Yeah.
Funny story about Tomo, just side note. This is a real good one, like getting pulled over as kids by cops for skating some shit. And like everyone's getting their names taken down. It gets to Tomo. And we all knew him as Tomo forever. And he goes like, oh yeah, Brian. Fucking something. And like, fucking have a look at Tomo. He's like giving him a fake name. And fucking, I think like Coop or some shit. Like total dumbass move. Because like, Brian, like that's not your name. And like the cops are like, that's not your name. And we're like, oh my, dude, what the fuck? Like, tell him that that's not his name. He's like, it is my name. And then it's like this weird thing. The cops are like, what? And then, check him out and they're like, oh yeah, it's Brian. Then we're all going like, what the fuck, Brian?
Who's Brian?
That was good.
Where did Tomo come from?
Scramble. I think it's maybe his middle name or something. I don't know.
I can see why you ditched Brian.
Yeah, Brian. That's what made it so much more funny because we were like, thought he was making it up and we're like, the name he picks is Brian. What the hell? Like,
of all the names.
Skating's still a bit like, I guess like it's slowed down a little just because fucking there's so much other shit going on. It's like, gigs and making music. I mean, I guess there's no excuse for that shit, but
yes, every excuse.
You know what I mean? Like, and then like I remember the last this tour in America, the one before, I was going pretty hard, and when we were on the Asian tour a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, but I was skating in South Korea and broke my foot the day before going to China for 2 weeks. So I spent that whole tour going around crutches and shit, which was pretty gnarly. And then like everyone was a bit like, oh, fuck, you need to chill when skating on tour. And then
playing the drums with
how did you play?
Which foot?
It was my left foot, luckily, so I was able to just like sort of rest it on the hi-hat, which was lucky. But I don't know, like honestly, a massive one that because I've been touring so much overseas heaps, a big thing that like made me not be skating all the time was the fact that it's such a fucking pain in the ass to take a skateboard on the plane with you still.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the amount of times like taking trucks off and burying them in your bag and fucking strapping your board to your bag, and some airlines are cool with it and others are like, you can't do that. And you're or you want me to pay like fucking $150 for a $90 deck to go, like, you know, but then you're like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And it's just always a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure someone's invented it now, like a bag that perfectly fits a skateboard inside. No, that was the thing. They were always like a little too short to just put it in there and just chuck the clothes on top. And you like have this thing taped to the outside, and they're like, "Oh, sir, that's not going to be feasible." You're like, "Fuck." Yeah. So there was that. And then the last time I was in the States, like last year with Amyl, there was like a little bit of eyebrow lifting going on with like, fucking chill out, Portnoy. It's like,
really?
Because like. We go to these
managers and like...
No, just like the band and then like Amyl's tour management being like, oh fuck, is this guy gonna fuck himself up and stuff? Yeah, right. Because we're hitting all these spots in the States, like especially like fucking these nuts DIY spots that have like vert shit everywhere and like crazy transition, most of which is DIY. So it's all like a bit fucking off. And like you see it and you're hell excited, so you're going like hard as, and then you've got your mates around and then you want to get some filming for the tour. So you're like kind of pushing it, and then it's like, you know, like one fuck up does sort of fuck everyone's time up.
Yeah.
So
does that sounds a little bit like some maturity?
Yeah, I know. That's why I hate it. It sounds lame as. But this time when I was in the States, I was skating like a bit, but didn't have a board. So it was mainly like when we went to a mate's place that had backyard DIY, or like they took us somewhere.
Yeah, when Max turns up.
Which was even fucking gnarlier because, you know, like you get
like
someone who's like 70 kilos, you get me, who's like fucking 95 kilos on their trucks, which they already ride loose. And then so you like put another fucking, you know, ton of weight on it. So you just got to go and wheel by and skate in these boards you're not used to. And, you know, they don't have the groove that you've got in your truck. But it was, last tour was actually pretty sick in the States, like skated some fucking mad stuff. Got some good hurricanes in.
So it's not gone yet?
No. Still, I've been actually meaning to come in and pick up my package. You've got one here, right?
Yeah, it's been waiting.
Yeah. Thinking it'll probably come by now.
Yeah.
Just
get my new, because in that fucking stupid process of taking trucks off to fit them in a bag and shit, I've lost my truck somewhere. I've got like 3 decks at home and no trucks and wheels because they've like, I don't know, they're buried somewhere. So I need to come in and just get some shit because I do still really enjoy it and find it, I don't know, super fulfilling. And even if, you know, it's like anyone who skates will know that, like, doesn't matter even if you just ride it down to the shops.
It's still got something.
Still feels like special, you know? And that's what, like, when I was getting on people's boards overseas, I was definitely like, "Whoa, fuck, that's fucking good!" Like, bit of fire.
Yeah, I kind of get both perspectives. I get why everyone's a bit jittery.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to bust.
But I mean, some of the gnarliest fucked up stacks I've had have been like going to the shop, like looking the other way, going down a hill and hit like a fucking nut,
gum nut,
and just like, boom! Like, what the fuck? Like, put me out of commission for like 2 weeks from just fucking riding down a hill, and like the other day I was skating a pool.
Yeah, that's
I know that story.
Tell me all. Fire out. This is old mates here.
I've just had ACL surgery
Is that
and
from snowboarding?
broken dislocated wrist. Yeah,
in one hit,
one go, and that was the same.
Call the guys keep going like, let's plan a gig near the snow so we can go snowboarding. Like, tell them, yo, maybe no snow.
It's just as dodgy. And that was on a little tiny muck around side here.
Yeah, that was like, I was riding park that morning, then I was like, sweet, let's ride out to lunch, and just was off a side hit and just landed.
I still feel a fucking shoulder slam from like, would have been like 6 years ago. I remember coming in here and be like, ow, I'm going to the snow. Give me fucking snow shit. And you're like, what do you need? I was like, fucking everything. I was like, you know, like a board and bindings and boots. I was like, yeah, and the clothing too. Like, you're like, fuck. Go down there. I just remember being like, seeing one of those huge tabletops or some shit. And I was just like, oh, and someone's like, just one thing, you just got to make sure like you fucking, it's better to clear it than to like land on the fucking knuckle. So I was like, all right, just fucking pin it and just like in the air, like, full, like, holy fuck. And he's like, the thing won't go off my feet. And you're just like, I'm just coming straight down in it. I was like, that thing is like fucking, like, you know, like 10 foot or some shit.
Yeah, it's a different
And then it was
beast.
just like, holy fuck. It took me like years of like, before I could lift something without going like, oh, tabletop. Oh, tabletop. Like,
Yeah, it's a different beast. You're going a lot
full-on
faster.
shit.
Yeah.
It's like fucking motocross of the snow.
Yeah, without the motorbike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to teach myself how to learn to ride half pipe, and I stacked it so bad I couldn't bend my arm past this for like 3 months.
Oh.
Every so often I'd get a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I can't ride
It's
half
so
pipe.
fast and so big.
Big. Everything's on, steroids, skateboarding on steroids. But
Yeah.
you wash out. You don't,
Yeah.
like skateboarding's got that thing where you just, because the board gets away from you,
Yeah.
and then when you hit the ground, you just fucking slap into the ground. Whereas snowboarding has this washout thing that happens. I don't know.
So-
How have you broken your ribs?
Yeah, I'm
That
talking
was
total
snowboarding
shit.
douche.
Dude. If you hit something in the snow, you just get folded up because you're going so fast. I kneed myself in the head, knocked myself out, and broke 3 ribs at the same time. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Fucking
And
Schumacher.
I was, properly out. Rowie skied down to me and she thought I was dead.
This podcast is going to be a great advertising. Get into
Hey, everyone,
skateboarding and
skateboarding, snowboarding.
But that's all because they weren't using the lib tech.
Yeah.
Fucking, I've been watching the little clip, man. It's quite fascinating. I don't really care about the gear at all, but something about your guys, like, I don't know.
It's Violet. She's a good producer.
There's something in it that I'm like, I can't stop watching. Why the fuck would I care about lib tech? Fucking, or like the fucking flexibility of bindings. Who gives a shit? But like the holding it and the videos and then the close-ups.
Hey, what can I say? I'm a talent.
But so was that like a full like Japanese hospital time for you?
No, it's here.
I did it.
Here.
Yeah, I did it end of this season.
Japanese hospital time's not good.
No.
No one speaks English. It's a disaster over there.
Yeah, had ACL surgery 2 weeks ago, and I had they put my wrist back into place down at Perisher, and then I had surgery the week later. And I've got to go back in for surgery in 3 months to get the metal out. So 3 surgeries in under 6 months.
Fuck.
First injury. First proper injury.
That's fucking hardcore shit.
Yeah. I've watched her ragdoll down a hill in Japan, like go bang, 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 boards up, head down, head up, board down, like, and I've ridden over and gone, you're right. And she just bounces up and goes, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, you should be dead. And then hits a
Yeah.
little side hit and all over. Crazy.
It's the equipment's fault, though.
Yeah.
I set it up wrong.
So what next? What's next? There's more touring, more. Like it seems insane.
Yes.
Like it's a whirlwind. I watch it on Instagram just going, Jesus, these guys get no rest anymore.
Yeah, well.
And you're working in between.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, so today I work construction and tomorrow I got a bunch of design shit to do at home. Jewelry, fucking all bits and pieces in the time.
Jingle for a podcast.
Jingle for a podcast needs to be done.
How's the jewelry going?
Jewelry's good. People want it
Yeah, those things.
more than I can
That's
make it.
sick.
So that's good. Yeah, I don't know. It's like we're at a weird point now where it's like the money is almost like there that we could not work, you know, but we're fucking idiots as well. And fucking probably
spend a lot of that money.
well, just like, I don't know, stupid shit, fucking fines, visas, you know, not getting like, oh, we've got no money now, so we can't book a van now, so we have to book it like a day before, which costs like $400 more than if we booked it. Like, you know, it's like, at least we recognize the things, but it's just like we're getting to that point where we're like, have enough to keep the fucking thing rolling smoothly. And then it's like, all right, now we can like put a wage on it for everyone.
Yeah.
And pay enough. And, you know, like, and yeah, we are starting to see the hustle pay off a bit. Like, we're still going out, you know, play a show and it's like, what do you mean it's sold out? Like, you know, it's a 500 person room. Like, who else is playing that they must be coming for? Which we were sort of used to, like playing with bands like Amyl and stuff. You know, you like, oh, it's just sick. You're playing to like massive crowd, but it's probably like mainly for them.
Yeah.
So we had like that mindset in place where we're kind of like, you know, like, oh, we're a great support band. then you start going like, fuck, there's actually no one else to like lay this kind of achievement on, which has been
good.
nice, you know.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like we've had such a, you know, slow climb.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not an overnight
determined
success.
climb that like, I think for us, it is nice because we've remained like super grateful for all of that because like, you know, we still see playing like a full pub as like an awesome time. You know what I mean? Like, because we remember the time that like, you know, more than just your 6 mates showed up and how like cool that was, you know, and then it's like, holy shit, someone's singing the words.
Yeah.
Like, why do they know that? It's like, oh, they know it because they care about it. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's pretty awesome.
Man, I've got a coffin story. I'll tell you my coffin story. Climbing gym. People come up to me and go, hey, I heard you know the guys from Coffin.
Oh, bullshit.
No bullshit. It happens. It's not just once or twice either.
Fuck
It's
yeah,
happened a
climbing
lot
crowd.
of times. Yeah. Climbing crowd's misfit crowd, man. Climbing crowd is
Well, they're fucking
super similar
elite.
to a skateboard
Yeah.
crowd.
Well, it's any extreme sport thing or something where like it
Wherever-
captivates you and you're like, I fucking want to do better. I can't wait to do it again. I'm thinking about how to get
repetitive. It's so similar, man. Like I'm obsessed with it because it's replaced skateboarding. It's like perfect for me. So there's a few of them. Like, can you get me stuff? Like, what, I'm like, what do you want? And they're like, just signatures or like autographs or photos or I'm like, yeah,
There you go.
yeah, I can do that.
Lock of hair.
I'll give you some hair next time. You'll be like, well, actually, I do carry a lock of hair. If you want to see like what the reaction is.
Fucking creepy. So creepy. Yeah, I've had it happen like maybe 3 times now.
That's hell funny.
People coming up to me, hey, so I've heard you know them. Well,
But it's sick to see the hustle pay off.
It's
and like that you
awesome to see
didn't
it pay
quit
off,
in the
man.
hustle. Because that's a lot of things like people don't see is how long the hustle went for. And there's a lot of people who give up too.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a good like, you know,
lesson in persistence.
It's like Motorhead's like, you know, Lemmy said some shit like, you know, Motorhead was never like really that good. We just didn't die.
Yeah.
And like eventually you sort of like get good or like, you know, people do pay attention like, because, you know, you can't not stay shit forever. I mean, like, and that's a big one for anything, I guess, like skating, snowboarding, like, I don't know. I feel like even if like, I mean, skating and stuff like, and all those things, like there's always going to be a level of like, you know, innate fucking gifted talent or some shit like, you know, like if whatever. But that being said, I do believe that like being persistent in that thing will take you to some like life that has a version of it that is fulfilling and related to that thing. So it's like, all right, I've been in skating so long, I know everything about skateboarding. I fucking love skateboarding. But, you know, like I'm a kook, you know, or something. But I know fucking everything about skateboarding. I love like the art. I love everything. I'm going to start a brand. And because I know all this shit and I know what people want, it fucking ends up ruling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or like anything like that. And it's true. Like people don't, you know, I guess like the persistence and like, you know, like struggle and determination does need to be shown more because you look at even like writers and you'll be like, oh, they've got that, like they came out suddenly and they had that one book. And yeah, it does happen with people where like they'll put out an album, it's great, or their first novel is amazing. But a lot of the time it's like years of like working in the sports column, this or that, fucking few novels. And then boom, this happens. And everyone just thinks that's where the timeline starts. They just fucking got spat out of genius.
Yeah. They don't see the 10,000 plus hours that people have dedicated.
You got to have
their
all
lives
those albums where you guys like have changed your sound over the years completely.
Yeah.
I remember commenting, I don't know, it's probably fucking 12 years, I don't know, 10 years ago. You brought in, I can't remember which album it was, but I remember saying, man, it sounds real Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah.
Which
it's Dead Kenny. And it's like so much of it is.
But now it's Coffin.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds
and it
like
took
Coffin.
time to get there because a lot of the time, like you're taking your influences, you know, like for us is an interesting situation because we started so young. A lot of it's like, you know, you're still in that completely like, you know, influenced sort of mush state where you're just like absorbing everything and like like regurgitating it in some version of itself.
Sure.
Yeah. So, you know, like then when a lot of bands will sort of like start a bit older and be like, okay, I've done all those years of kind of like doing kooky shit or like mishmashing like Dead Kennedys or Suicidal or a fucking Rolling Stones song or something. Now I know what I want. Whereas we sort of like were doing that through the band and it got to a point where like, all right, now we know what we want. But yeah, it's hell funny. Like that's what Dope Connection with Borders like coming in here. If like get the CD and be like, yo, Al, got the fucking new CD. And be like, well, that one actually sounds all right.
Yeah, I've watched it like progress.
Like, Al, can we sell our CD at the shop? Yeah. Can we fucking put our stickers in the sticker cabinet?
It's been a ride for sure.
How old were you all when you started?
The band started when we were 11.
11.
Our first gig was when we were like 12. Well, we started jamming together when we were 11 and had our first like show when we were 12 years old.
Yeah, obviously a couple of the members have changed.
It's been a few band members that shall not be named.
Yeah.
It's a pretty settled lineup now though, right?
Yeah.
Like 20 years later. How many years? How old are you now?
31.
Far out. So you've been doing this for 20 years.
Close, 18, yeah.
That's crazy. All right. How old were you when you started? How old were you when you first walked into Borders, do you think?
Whoa, bro. Well, first memory of Borders is the old shop burning down.
Okay, so that's 2004 or something?
Yeah, but I never went to that shop. I just remember getting a call from old member of COFFIN, Artie, calling me. And we just sort of met at the time of getting into skating. Or both into skating, but like had found each other at high school. And that's another fucking cool thing about skating is that like brings people together. You know, I met the people who I play music with pretty much through skateboarding.
Yeah.
But it was like, wait, there's like fucking this like skate demo thing down somewhere and they're giving away heaps of free shit or like cheap stuff because it's all fucked from this fire. So we like ran down there. It's like all the bushings for trucks and shit were like busted. So
everything was
just like fucking gouging the shit. And I remember there was like I think I even remember like the old like graphic was like a skull with like the wing like, on the head. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my first like memory of Borders, but I was a fucking like, you know, ashamed to say it, I was a fucking Manly Blades kid because I lived in Freshie and like, you know, you'd go skate down to Manly and that was the shop you passed.
Yeah.
Never fucking, you know, you kid, you don't venture outside of your territories until you sort of get to the point where you start going over the city to skate or something.
Yeah.
And then I heard like, no, this is way fucking like Manly, you're fucking Manly Blades, what the fuck? Like, you know, there's fucking cool shops, Borders. I was like, what? And there was like this scary thing, like, well, like, you know, and like that's when you know, like shop. You've got a fucking cool skate shop is when you're like a bit intimidated to go in there and like, you know, fucking old mate was working. And it was like the most like unfriendly person you can imagine.
It wasn't me, Mark.
Yeah.
Up at Balgala, the black shop.
Yeah, so I think it was.
He was someone fucking.
Yeah, like
friendly.
you go and it's like, you know, it's like. Like I don't know. It's like, what do you fucking want? It's like, it's like, oh god, and then turned back.
I remember Clinton coming in there really young.
But yeah, I think I would have had to have been like
probably.
You worked
probably year 7. Yeah, because I met like Melvin Bird and all that crew.
2000.
So we all got
Nail Shred Day earlier than
2005 or something. No, 2005 or 6.
Okay. When was Nail Shred?
That was when I was around.
10?
2009, 2009.
2011, even 12.
2010, you were filming it, and then we had the premiere in our shop at 2011.
Right, fucking hell.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Because I remember I finished university, and I was like I was going to Cuba, and I was like, I need to fucking finish my part. So like filmed like, you know, the whole half of like the best tricks in it, just like in like 3 days before going overseas.
Yeah, right.
Which was like a good motivation to like do some of the gnarliest shit in it because it was like
that's still, you can watch that on YouTube if you want.
Yeah,
Nail Shred with
funny.
A G.
Nail Shred with a G.
Melvin Bird.
Yeah, so I was coming in from like, you know, the age of 12, 13, and then.
So when you start working,
I don't know, it's crazy to even reflect on all that shit because you're like, man, like it's wild that my first knowledge of it was the shop burning down. It's like exists as this sort of like mystic fucking thing that's like a bit like, you know, like it's like the you know, the dark side of skateboarding. Like you got like the PC, like fucking, you know, Canadian roller skate bloke down in Manly, and then you've got like this place that doesn't like sell bullshit and like doesn't really even want to sell shit to you, like, you know, like, and like, you know, like will like convince you to get the wrong size shoes because they can't get the stock. And I remember like it's like it's crazy how shit's changed too, because I remember it was like hard in Australia, like I guess like getting albums and shit back in the day to get like the fucking the good shit, or it'd be like, oh, like, okay, now at the end of the order, or like the end of the fucking order sheet, we've got Australia to fill. Like, what's left? Send like last year's back order over there. They'll fucking eat it up, you know? But,
it was hard. And we had the attitude like only sell American wood and like, we had such a core attitude. Yeah, so it was like it's a miracle we survived.
Because then it's like, you know, and then meet all the mates around the shop, and then like seeing the shop moving around, and then like your first friend gets a job at the shop, and you're like, whoa, fuck did that happen? And everyone's secretly like wanting to get the job at the skate shop, and like, you know, even their mind like, you're like, oh man, I'll just fucking work for like Dex. Like, I'll just work for like the clout of working at a skate shop.
Everyone was working for product in those days.
And then it was like
working for
the
money.
whole thing of like the whole goal of like, man, like got to get on the Boarders team. There's like, you know, like a checklist. I didn't even know if the checklist existed or if we just like made it up, but it was like, you got to like ollie the pit.
You made it up.
Why do I remember this?
Yeah, and it was like, all right, it was almost like a living, breathing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But it was like, all right, like, you know, like fucking first challenge, go to one place, ollie the pit, film it. Like, good, got it. Like next one, like kick flip a four stair. Like,
Totally made
to
up.
like get like, you know, 30% off. Like, to get but it was discount. Like no one cared about the discount. It was like, I'm on the fucking Boarders team, and that was what was cool about this shit, is that like made you feel like part of the pack, you know, like, and
it's changed a lot, man. The world's changed since then.
Yeah, it was like a gang, you know, like, you know, it's like there's Baker and we got Boarders, like, you know, it was the same rascal shit, like, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna go out and fuck, and then you stay at each other's houses and look up skate videos and start editing shit, man. Like without Boarders, honestly, like, or like, you know, a skate shop existence, like life could be fucking way different for me. Like video editing. Even like learning, like having an eye of like what to capture and what's entertaining outside of skateboarding. Yeah. Like, you know, like going home and going like what music works with a certain vibe and a certain person. Like all that shit, I'm sure is like very like, you know, defining for me in a way that you can't really sort of like measure, because it's, you know, at that young age, you're so absorbent to all this stuff. And like, you know, vibing off other people's energy and that drive and that sort of healthy competition. Yeah. Like it's a pretty like unique, you know, like remove the skateboarding, whatever, like the whole like mechanism of whatever that is like very like unique and special, and was definitely super important to me.
Yeah, I think your generation like encapsulated that better than any. Like I think of all the guys that around your age, like that Noel Shred crew, like think of Ollie West, like he's like a fucking tattoo artist that's killing it. Matty Mill, another one. Like all those guys, it was really artistic group of guys.
Yeah, like
seemed to all evolve together.
Yeah,
it was pretty
like
cool.
Looking at skateboard art and that, you know, it's like it's way deeper than like
just a shop and just skateboarding.
Like going around and like, you know, doing the Olympics or something. It's way deeper than that. And that's why I guess I'm saying too, going back to like that thing, what we're talking about with like, you know, having that determination and drive. It's like so many of these people that were in that crew that I was part of, like maybe none of them now, like heaps of them still skate, but none of them are really like, you know, pro skater person.
No.
But they all pretty much are doing something that
probably came from skateboarding.
Was based in that, whether it was like, we like this brand because of their art. And it's like, you've got fucking 13-year-olds talking about art. Yeah. But they don't know they are because it's disguised within skating. Yeah. And they've got like, you know, they're talking about, I don't know. You can get so deep into it. Like the shape of a board, like, you know, types of wood, like where products come from in the world. Don't get it from there because that's cheap shit.
Yeah.
This play, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
What
the
to it.
music that came from
Yeah, you've got
skateboarding as well.
video, music, art, fashion, style,
And
all of that.
it's no different. Like that was how I mean, I'm so much older, but that's what we grew up on too. Like we were watching Animal G and watching all these old Powell movies and then Streets of Fire and all this stuff. And the music, you're like finding music through movies. I found tons of music through the early snowboard movies like TB2 and
sick.
that was where all that punk influence came from. And yeah, it was crazy.
What I
like,
wonder
it's
about
just-
like the younger generation now, like
They find music through
They
TikTok.
find it
or
through
like
TikTok, bro.
they just expect like everything like is meant to happen like that, and if it doesn't, then like drop it, move on. It's like, oh, like I'm not a fucking SoundCloud superstar, like I mustn't be good at rapping. Like, oh, like I picked up skating for a week, but like couldn't tray flip. Like that's not my thing because like I'm just watching people like boom, 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 do it.
Like you said it before, you made up this list of like, all right, to get on the Boarders team, I've got to do this and this and this and this and this. Now a kid goes, I'm just going to DM them.
Yeah.
And that
They
will
do.
work.
They literally like send you a
And you're like,
message
that's-
going, can you give me stuff? And it's like,
No.
well, who the fuck are you, man? We don't know you. Like, you're not part of the
Even like
family. Who are you?
like, oh, here's a camera from like the early 90s. Like, let's go work out how the fuck that thing works.
yeah.
Like how to get it from this fucking this thing onto that thing that I'm borrowing from my fucking mum, like that I can use for like 3 hours on a Saturday night.
No
Like,
wonder,
you know.
no wonder old skaters were so like
it was-
resistant to give up VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it took so long to figure
Yeah,
it all out. Mini DB took forever, man. It was such a different time. Like, I hate talking about, I worry about this generation or whatever. I hate being that guy who talks about the generational thing, but you guys as a generation are not that different to what we were, and there's 20 plus years difference. The gap to you guys in this current crop coming through is just light years. It's nothing. You're not even from the same stratosphere as these kids. They're so different. They have such short attention spans, and they're going to be a different beast, but they'll find their way. They'll figure it out.
Something will be.
Skateboarding's in a lull right now, but I'm sure whatever it takes to trigger it again, it'll happen. And hopefully that creates that art and makes these kids want to be more than just a little rat bag skateboarder.
Is that what this podcast is about, skateboarding?
I don't know.
Oh, it's no like
This skateboarding, this
It's about-
podcast
it's just
is about
like
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
borders.
Borders, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Hell
about anyone who has any connection to history with or whatever.
So
It's
you
been
two,
cool.
you're the owners now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How good's that?
Now it's not
Yeah.
new.
Well, I don't know. Like, you haven't like slowly made Claire buy all your shit out and like you just like dumping her with it.
Dude, I'm not so sure how keen she'd be to buy all my debt.
Nah,
No.
that's
No,
sick.
it's,
That's fucking good on you guys.
Yeah, it's just a change in. Like, we're always changing, man. We try to evolve with whatever's going on, but it's not what it was. So like that team thing's a bit of a nothing thing these days. We've only really got a few kids on the team, and sort of like my great hope is Levi at the moment. Levi Mitchell, he's what, 8, 9,
Yeah.
and you're going, man, he's the kid. He's the kid.
Yeah.
Like you're watching him going, this kid could be anything, but it's
Sliding
too
a
young.
Contract in front of you.
Yeah, don't worry. We're already like, sweetheart boys, what else do you want? We're here, we'll hook you up. We'll hook you up, Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird time, man. But
Fucking
anyway,
money's super weird with all that shit too. It's like it was like so fucking lame to like have any corporate shit involved, and then it's like
dude,
Monster Energy shit. It's like everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I guess I don't know, like it's a weird like battlefield because we get it with music too. It's like, you know, like I did a fucking Tui's ad, you know, but I was like in $6,000 debt from fucking touring, and it was like, boom, this thing comes along. It's like, we'll give you $6,000 to be in a fucking beer ad, and I was like I like
Done.
beer, but
I like beer.
I like also don't like really being used to like
Yeah,
pump something because of something I've created. And I also don't, as much as I like beer, don't really want to like give people like the idea that, oh, like those guys drink beer, so we should drink beer, you know, like, you know, don't want anyone to become a pisshead. But then it was like, also like, but you know, like they're not making us like change our music and not making us sort of like wear anything we don't want to do, you know, and it's going to get me out of debt to be able to keep doing the thing I want
Where
to do.
is this ad?
You haven't seen the Tui's ad?
No.
No?
Bro.
What to his
I haven't
ad?
seen it either. I don't have TV.
Well,
I get told all the time. People are like, bro,
I don't watch TV either, but
yeah, I think you got to watch regular TV. I think people watch like
commercial
cricket or sport. Like
You watch heaps of that. You should see
no, I
it.
don't watch fucking commercial TV. I
yeah,
watch
like people watch like
Foxtel and,
you know like cricket or like a game where like there's lots of ad breaks that'll come
Oh.
up apparently.
and
But-
what you play COFFIN playing.
Well, no, it's not
If we
officially
like
it's not COFFIN.
YouTube
Who
this.
is it?
If you look up
officially?
Tui's the drummer,
Oh no,
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't worry.
I also
It's
haven't
the
watched
first
it
thing
because
I'm
I
doing.
don't want to feel the awkward, fucking tingly,
yeah,
regretful feelings that will come up with it. But that being said, like the monster thing, I'm like, fuck, that shit is so lame.
But it's an
But
enabler.
then I'm like, fuck, is that giving that person like,
Yes.
is that the only way they can make a living from
Yes.
skateboarding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like this fuck thing. And it's like, I guess Monster isn't going like, hey, we need you to like sort of bend your knee
No.
like this when you're doing ollie.
just wear a
So they're not
monster
like,
tee.
it's
Yeah.
this thing of like, I guess when it's like selling out, it's like, well, are you having to change what you do because of it? You know, or are you just getting money from it? And it's like, you
No.
know. I mean, I guess the worst part of it is you're probably like getting kids to think like, oh, if I drink Monster Energy, I'll fucking skate better.
Do you really think that though? I don't.
No,
think
but I'm saying like, I'm trying to think of like, what's the biggest negative thing to come from that?
that's
Except
potentially
is
it.
that's
Yeah.
basically it, and like
Yeah.
the fucking graphic looks lame as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the
And
reps.
it's pushing out like with the Nike shit, it pushes out all the lower brands. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
That's the downside. But with drinks, who cares? Like at the end of the day, I don't think the smaller brands have enough money to sponsor these guys
yeah.
properly.
No
anyway.
one like the smaller brands are not going like, let's
No.
build a fucking big ramp on the beach for a demo.
No, it's an enabler. Aha, who always talks about it. He always goes, Red Bull is an enabler. It enables people to make a living from what they love.
I can't believe they got a Formula One team.
They got
Saw that.
2 Formula One teams.
Man, Formula One became an obsession of mine for a little bit.
Really? Drive
The
to
sound,
Survive?
though. The
Oh,
fucking
really?
I watched that
Well.
Senna documentary.
That was the old V8s. They
I know,
sounded
and,
sick.
and then I got into this whole fucking spiral of like
V10s
watching,
and-
like, and then just like even just listening to old
Yeah, right.
fucking races, and they're so intense.
yeah. Yeah.
Fucked
I'm
up.
obsessed with Formula One. Don't get me started on that.
Oh.
We'll be here for 3 hours.
Yeah, let's
Um, so Red Bull have 2 teams. Alpha Tauri, there is Red Bull's fashion label.
Mm.
That's their other team.
Do you
Know
think
how
it's
much
really boring for people though?
what?
Like this. Like I keep thinking, like, do we need to talk about specific things?
No.
No.
No. That's
No.
good.
Talk
Because
about
when I
talk
listen to
about whatever you
podcasts,
want.
I love this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
listen,
But I'm always wondering, like, fuck, like,
The
is this rude?
the
the
more
concept
well,
of
rude to who?
this-
Fuck them.
The concept of this came
Don't
from
listen.
we would have reps and people walk into our office constantly and we'd sit
I wouldn't have these
conversations.
conversations.
Yeah,
And,
it's true. It's
and we
good.
were like, fuck, we need to capture that. And
Yeah,
Like, so-
that's why we don't talk about what we're going to do before we do it.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you do,
Yeah, it's true.
the whole
It's like
thing
it's
just
all
becomes
set
this
up.
convoluted
Yeah.
pile
Yeah.
of
We
shit.
only talk about the things we're not allowed to talk
Violet's the only one who wants us to have a meeting.
about. A little meet.
Just a little meeting.
Oh,
a little meeting.
Little meeting.
Yeah, no
Oh, little
meeting.
meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, like pre-planning, but
All right. What's
I think it's
Yeah.
overrated.
what's-
she asked if we needed a plan for this podcast.
I
And I
was
was like,
oh, this is
if
the
you've
one we
met Portnoy,
definitely don't need a
there's
plan.
no plan needed.
So, let's get some good questions. Can we
Can
get
you
the dirt?
comment? Al picked a skateboard, especially for you.
Yeah, I picked that day.
Oh,
I felt like it just had Portnoy written all over it.
baby.
It's,
Yeah.
it's attached
These
to the
type
wall.
of skateboards love me.
Don't,
Sick.
I don't know, that graphic just screamed Portnoy, and then you rocked up wearing that jacket, and I'm
Oh,
like,
mate.
fucking nailed it.
This is sick.
Yeah, it's a good one, eh? It's
Fuck
probably
yeah, nice
15 years old.
Very cool.
Don't know where.
I mean, you do have the Motorhead ones as well.
Yeah, but I don't know where they are.
Yeah. Right.
It's what I had on hand.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
I've got all the Motorhead ones somewhere. They're a cool collection of boards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wanted Coffin to be the star. There.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want Motorhead in the background.
Yeah.
Come on, that'd be like me.
We're trying to
wearing-
promote Coffin here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be like me
Ah.
rocking up in an Amyl shirt. That's not fair.
I was gonna say.
Those guys do
That's-
promote the shit out of you, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fucking lucky to have
They
them. That's sick.
constantly wear
Yeah.
coffin shirts when they're being interviewed.
Nah, legends.
They're not the only ones.
Big up and.
Mm.
All right, let's get into some good dirt. Who? What's the like, okay, have you ever had to send anyone else home besides Clinton?
Artie.
Artie, yeah, okay. What did
How
Artie
long
get
did
sent
Artie
home from?
Artie worked for maybe 6 hours. Artie last.
Both ex-Coffin members.
Yeah, you sent them both home too. Where are they? They're not in the band anymore.
Off we go. Yeah. What did Artie get sent home for? Farting or just being just...
No, he was packing boxes and he just was fucking everything up.
Yeah.
And it was Mark lost his shit, I
Any
think.
more fucking work?
Yeah, it was basically.
Yeah, that's good, right?
He was terrible.
Fuck, that was so funny coming in with Clinton.
I remember.
I can't believe some of the partnerships you let us get away with in here.
Oh,
Me and Nathan, me and Clinton, me and Chris Smythe. Me and Chris Smythe had a great one where we would yell as loud as we could, like, fuck, like, until the moment someone opened the door and then go back to normal and just be doing something. And they would come in being like, what the fuck? And you'd be like, hey, how's it going? Like, do you need anything today? And it's like super nice. It was just like, fucking push it as hard as you could just till that bing came out. That was good.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So good.
Oh,
It's like,
shit.
yeah, Clinton coming in, just going, mate, are you fucking joking? Like, just took one look and sniffed at him, was like, go home, have a fucking shower, come back. Oh, some good times.
Yeah, mate, we've had some employees over the years.
Yeah.
I remember you telling a kid once who bought an anti-hero deck that he wasn't allowed to buy Grizzly grip tape. I remember you just, do you want, what sort of grip do you want? And he was like, oh, Grizzly. And you're like, nah.
You had no.
You just can't put that on that, mate. No.
The kid was confused.
He was
I remember
like,
this, and he was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "You can't do
Carrying
that."
on the tradition of like,
it's
like,
black.
Oh,
hey, mate, can I get those shoes? Like,
No.
nah. Like, don't like them, so get these ones. Like, I like those ones. Like,
Nah.
like, no,
Yeah,
fuck that brand. That rep's a dickhead.
Fuck. They were good times.
But the other thing I do want to know, right, because this was always like a very exciting part of my day at Borders was lunchtime. And
I don't even want to know what this question is.
like, no, and then it was like, I felt like it was this, and then weekend shifts were always Sundays sucked because everything was closed.
Nothing was open.
So it was always a fucking pain in the ass. But there were some real fun ones that I hold quite dear in my heart. Good memories. Like, what was it called? Was it called Break Time? Remember how cute Break Time was?
Oh, yeah, Break
The little
Time.
sandwich shop around the corner.
Yeah, what happened to that?
I think it was like Japanese family ran Break Time. And like, they were just so polite with how insanely stacked you'd make the sandwiches. You'd be like, oh, I wonder, can I add beetroot? Or like, when are they going to pull the pin? And be like, and you just like rock, and it would be the same price. It's like, and you'd be like, and Swiss cheese? And they're like, yes. And you'd be like, oh, fuck no. You'd be like, can I get the lettuce and the spinach? You'd be like, yeah. You're like, fucking hell. Like,
Just keep going and going.
and you just see them like struggling to cut this fucking like sculpture.
Yeah, Break Time.
It was like $5.50.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa. So yeah, what's the lunchtime favourites around here now?
Now, I'm hopeless. I just go to the mall.
The new banh mi shop. That's
Oh yeah, that place rocks.
yeah,
Pretty good.
really good.
Pretty good.
I'm terrible.
Do
I'm
you
the worst one to
remember-
ask.
Were you around where the pie shop had the
Oh,
old
little
guy?
old dude? You remember the little old
And
guy? at the
every
pie
time
shop?
you'd go in to buy a pie or a pastry from him, he'd give you like words of wisdom.
Yeah, life
yeah,
advice.
yeah.
It was
I,
like,
never,
oh,
I think
man.
I never really fucked with the pie shop because it wigged me out because I remember getting, maybe it was like the chicken broccoli or something, and just like opening the pie and it was just like a fucking head of broccoli just in there, and I was like, brother, man, like, come on. Like,
he was
yeah.
getting old, couldn't
He
drop
was
the
getting on.
veggies.
He sold it to a family who've put all their family photos all over the
It's
wall.
Changed owners
And then
again.
they sold it onto an Indian family or something.
I don't know.
the photos are
And the
still up.
photos are still up.
Oh, I
It's
love
the
that.
fucking weirdest vibe
Oh,
in there.
fucking good.
Yeah, I don't go in there. I don't eat meat.
Do you guys
so-
have a you guys plan on making a beer?
Oh, dude, we've been
Borders
offered
beer.
that.
Yeah.
The Seventh
Fucking
Day
easy.
Brewery
Fucking
down the
knock off a
road.
bunch of that shit to all those bloody breweries.
We all actually went for a meeting with a brewer, and they were like, "If you've got bands, we've got a stage that we can put up." And
It's like,
Al and I are like, To what
the same
extent?
thing, though.
Again,
Like,
it's like,
that
do we
same
dub
thing you were
these people
talking
and
about.
ruin the relationship?
Like, we could get you a band that will finish this relationship tomorrow.
But we'll have a good night.
Yeah.
But if it's sick, you'll sell a shit ton of beer.
All right. I want to know what like stuff I can get.
Now
out of
you're
these people.
interviewing us.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
is this?
Yeah, I mean,
flip?
we haven't seen each other for a long time. It's
been a minute.
All right. Oh, the other one was.
Where are these questions coming from?
Oh no, I lost it now.
Oh, thank God. It's
Oh
probably,
yeah, skate comps.
Oh, yeah?
You guys doing those?
No.
Do those ever happen?
No.
Those are
Do
a
you-
nightmare to put on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
your connection with the council actually got me in the connection with, was like Kate Munro
Yeah,
or
yeah,
someone?
yeah.
So you
Yeah,
introduced me to her.
basically just like Manly just broke it down to she was like, fuck this, I'm going to work for at Redfern.
Yeah.
Since she's left, it's been super hard. I've tried, and it's like you just get bounced around between
Yeah.
the youth council to the like
Ah,
They're a
events
nightmare.
thing, and it's
I
like
know.
And they're a nightmare
when
anyway.
Kate was there, it was amazing. She's like, "Don't worry, I'll handle everything. You just handle the comp." I was
Yeah,
like,
and then it's like-
"Perfect."
You know, it's like, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Let us do it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you can do it, but like no one can skate like the metal thing in the middle
They,
of the park. You're like,
Yeah.
the
And the
rail? They're
helmet.
like, yeah, that looks a bit too dangerous. Like,
fuck.
it's like, fuck.
The helmet thing too. They used to make all the kids wear helmets, and that would put
And then
half the kids
half
out.
The kids are
Yeah.
like, fuck
Fuck that, I'm not wearing a
can't.
helmet.
Yeah, it was like if they were 16 and under, had to.
Yeah, I remember Liv.
I remember Ryan too. Ryan just being like,
You've
"Fuck
got to be
this."
fucking kidding. I remember Liv putting a helmet on, just going, "This isn't worth it, man. I don't even care if I win.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? I look like an idiot."
Is there a mini ramp anywhere in this building? Yeah.
No,
No.
that's been something that I've avoided for 27
That
years.
has always been
The pestering
the
thing.
pestering thing. Ow, put a fucking mini
Yeah,
ramp.
'cause
It's
then
like,
no
it's like,
one
what, am I a
works.
fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Like, can't get rid of you guys anyway.
And no one would work, man.
Yeah.
It's so nuts.
I have a question for you. If I managed to put on another
Fuck
skate,
no.
skate comp, would
No
Coffin
coffin
play?
playing. No
Oh,
way.
probably. Like,
Cost you
basically,
$1,000 a minute these days.
I'll buy you dinner.
I'll buy you
basically,
a case of beer.
we've definitely upped our prices.
Twoies?
Fair
What,
enough.
from a case of
Because,
beer?
like, you know, if you see 500 people in the crowd, you want some of that fucking ticket
Yeah,
money.
yeah, so
You're
you
like,
should.
that was something that took us years to figure out too. We'd play these pubs because we're so used to not, you know, that's another one, kids. Fucking know your value. You know, I'm not saying like, fucking I don't do this unless I make this much money, but it was like, because we'd come from a youth center scene where you paid for pizza at the end of the night.
Yeah.
We had no idea of like our value, right? So you'd start playing pubs and it'd be a packed pub and then you'd get like, you know,
few $100.
a meal.
Yeah, it's
like,
nothing.
you know, or it's like, here's a few $100 if you invoice this and that, and you're like fucking 18, you don't have fucking invoice or some shit. Like, can't you just give me like $150 cash?
Yeah.
Like, no, invoice this person and then like within 30 days and you're like, oh, fuck, you never got paid.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, fuck, there was a full pub there. And it wasn't really until like one of those Hardball Bolo shows where someone who we knew was working was like, yo, like I
10
just did
grand.
the cash out. There was 10 grand in just this one till.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't made this much money since like
I
doing
remember
Anzac
it.
Day.
I remember that
And
moment.
it was like,
It was like a
fuck.
light bulb moment.
yeah,
for
and it
you
was
guys.
like, yeah, like I want some of that fucking
Yeah.
pie.
That's how you
Mm.
book venues. You go to the next place and go, we know they had their
Yeah, and
biggest
you
hit.
were the one saying that. You were going to get the fucking cash out report,
Mhm.
go to a place, put it in front of them. And like, we didn't do that because they're never going to give us the fucking thing.
No, but you
report.
could.
But it definitely, and thank you, because it definitely did give me the confidence to, because, you know, you basically, we undervalued ourselves. We're like, oh, we're a band that like, you know, we're lucky if someone lets us play. You were like, nah, you're a fucking, like, you're a draw that brings someone heaps of money. Say to them, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to make this much money, let us play. We're going to take this much. And they'll go like, oh, no, well, we want some of the door. It's like, no, we're taking the door money. You're keeping the bar. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
If you want to fucking go deeper, we'll take 3% of the bar, like, and then we'll see who comes out better, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
cheers for that.
Pleasure.
But that being said, we raised our prices, but we're still very open to like doing, you know, the good work. So
Yeah,
like
you
all
should.
ages stuff, like we're currently working on building a regional tour where each Sunday too has like a all ages gig.
Yeah, sick.
And like, you're not going to make money off those, but if we can make enough money to break even, and then like, you know, the shows on the Friday, Saturday make money.
Yeah, they pay the bills.
You know what I mean? It's like that stuff's important for us, and we'll still do that shit. So if there's, skate park shows, all ages things, and it's not an insane headache for us,
Sure.
like, oh, okay, can you guys like organize everything? Yeah. We're more than willing to do shit like that.
Yeah, that's sick.
Because
that's
that's
the right
like
way to think.
what was so important for us doing stuff, going to skate park, seeing the band, being like, fuck, man, that's sick. I'm going to go home now and try and write a song.
It's good. As long as you keep that mindset,
It's good
man,
that you guys
will
all
keep...
came together at that younger age. So you've got that, you're like, fuck, I was, 15, 16, wanting to go to gigs and couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look, it's such a big deal. Like, that's your future audience too. You don't want to ignore them.
Yeah, and that's it. Like as much as we talk about the shit can, like the younger generation or something, like, fuck, like, what do they have? But like, it's basically like, oh, you got all this tech.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, that's like what you get. It's like, you got like the possibility of everything in your hand. But what's lacking is like these places to have like these meaningful sort of like present experiences.
Yeah.
Like, I was at a skate comp and the energy was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't want to do anything else now except for skate.
Yeah.
Or I went to this gig and like, it was just like, I was just like completely present and there, and like
it makes you want to play music.
I want to play music, like, or I saw like a live spray painting thing, and like I couldn't believe the way it came together. And now like all I can think about is the way like shapes work together, or like how you layer something.
Yeah,
I don't know, like a lot of that stuff we were lucky enough to walk into. We didn't really have to, like, obviously once we got a taste for it, you go find it, but a lot of it happened initially by chance, like, or someone says come to a youth center show, you see it, boom, now you just want to keep going. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's a real lack of those things.
Absolutely.
For kids. Like now it's like,
yeah, they're taking it away. They're gentrifying everything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can look up how to do anything, but it doesn't match like being inspired by something happening.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. Now they're sitting at home in front of video
Fucking
games.
computers.
Yeah.
Don't start me. I'll lose my mind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, everyone. Ben Portnoy, Children
Come
of
at us with
Finland.
laser shows.
Children of Finland fighting in Norway. Headed
What
your
else?
way
I surely have some more stuff to ask.
for that show.
I fucking actually, it's gonna sound so. I don't want to even show you because you're gonna be like horrified and be like, "Whoa, bro."
I so want
But
to
like
do it.
finally last night, I was like, all right, I got the like little guitar part in my head because once I got it there, it'll come out quick. Let me have a listen.
It doesn't have to be long.
No, it can't be long. It'll be like. We'll do something like this. It's the Boardcast. I'm going to do a little blues one, get the hum.
Yeah.
The Boardcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I added a tail onto it. It's not in there. But yeah, finish it with like, bam. So, it's just like
I love it.
Yeah, that's it.
and add a little bit
There you go. That's all
of
we need.
harmonica. Boom. But
Bam.
I got to fucking
Hurry
get
up.
the tape recorder out and all that shit. It'll happen. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Tape recorder. Can't you just record it on your phone?
Oh, no.
Digital. Plug
I'm
this
gonna
shit
do
in.
it proper for you.
Okay.
It's all going to be the whole thing.
Okay. Sick.
You'll see it'll be all there on the fucking invoice, bro.
Can't wait.
Clear Portnoy's debt. Clear tick. Clear my tick.
Mate, the tick cupboard. Do you remember? There you go. Do you remember the tick cupboard? The tick list
that
on
was
the
a full
door.
thing. We did have. Oh, that was got out of control.
Fucking
was.
Lewis.
Just fucking no more tick.
No more tick across the door. Lewis
Like,
Wood.
oh, maybe